asked this question. I mean, the church has been through a massive scandal with pedophile priests and a cover-up at the hierarchy of the church. Would those priests who ask forgiveness, are they Christian? In other words, how do you judge somebody's heart? How do you ascertain? Like, for example, my view of Christianity is I consider myself a Christian, but I'm a flawed Christian. I mean, I'm one of the people on the list that needs the saving and the forgiveness. I'm not on the forgiving part of the list. I'm on the receiving end of forgiveness. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, Sean, and I think it's to put more context into it. Not again, I said I didn't like the way he put this at all, but to give more context, he spent 5 days beating up on the corruption in Mexico, in politicians in Mexico, beating up on the drug lords, beating up also on anyone, bishops or priests or Christians who would be seeking themselves rather than seeking the service of people. So it wasn't like he's just been waiting to beat up on Donald Trump. Equal opportunity here, and he was asked the question. He was asked the question, very specific questions. This is not him inserting himself into American politics, but rather responding to a question. He has decided he's not going to be scripted, and I think it's really important too to underline the fact that he said somebody who only thinks about building walls rather than bridges.
I think you're trying to spin it for him, because when a reporter asked him about Mr. Trump, he was on the papal airliner as he returned to Rome after a 6-day visit to Mexico. That's when he gave the answer, and he was talking about Trump, and we can't spin it any other way. He basically said Trump's not a Christian.
But he was answering a question about Trump.
Right, so he's suggesting that he's not a Christian.
Sean, he should have said no comment. It's wrong. His response was wrong. I'm just trying to get the context. I think he's going to come out and say, that's not what I meant. I was not saying that he's not a Christian, but rather it's an unchristian thing to do, to only build walls and not build bridges. And I think we would all, on this interview, we would all say that's not a Christian thing to do, for us to only build walls and not build bridges. I think that's what he's going to say.
Yeah. And what do you think, Jerry Falwell Jr.?
Well, I think Donald Trump I'll just tell you something he told me 6 weeks ago. He told me he was in favor of repealing the Johnson Amendment to give back First Amendment right to churches and to nonprofit universities like the one I lead. And he's the only candidate that I'd heard say that. Maybe others have, but then he repeated it in the press just today I saw. And so, Donald Trump doesn't wear his religion on his sleeve, but I don't think that's the test of a true Christian. It's not how religious they are, but rather how they treat others and what they believe in their heart about Jesus Christ. And it's that simple to me, and I don't think anybody can judge what's in anybody's heart. I agree with you 100%, Sean.
But don't people that, for example, even people that are born again, or you're saved through the baptism if you believe in the Catholic Church, or if you're an evangelical and you get baptized older in life and you invite Jesus Christ into your heart and you say that he is your personal Lord and Savior, and I believe all of that, but why do I keep sinning? Why am I imperfect?
Everybody's a sinner, and everybody sins every day, I believe. And I think that's why Jesus had to die on the cross. It's that simple. And that's why I don't think we're supposed to judge other people, because the only people Jesus was really hard on were the religious elites of his day. He called them wolves in sheep's clothing, and he called them a generation of vipers and hypocrites, and those were the ones he was hard on. He was accused of being he was accused of being a friend of publicans and sinners, because that's who he hung out with. And I believe that we're all there, and I think we